Hello and welcome back. So this video is going to be a review on all of the liquid foundations I've ever tried, which I have a list of 20. Maybe I've even forgotten some, but I don't think so. I'm not including stick or powder foundations only because I have not tried many of those. But these are foundations that I have finished an entire bottle, sometimes even more. I do have combination skin. My chin is very oily. I do have a breakout right now, and my forehead tends to be on the dry, and I have large pores on my chin and my nose. I also do have some lines on my forehead, so those are my skin concerns. All right, I want to get into this review because it's going to be a lot, but if you are interested, I do have an entire reviews playlist where you can see other reviews that I've done, so let's get into it. Skipping around from drugstore to high end, but I will be starting with drugstore. So I have a whole list. First up is the Maybelline Super Stay. This comes in 28 shades. It costs somewhere around $10 to $11, depends where you buy it. This foundation was super full coverage. The issue for me was that it was a bit drying. Like I said, I have combination skin, but parts of my face are dry, so it was a bit too much from that standpoint. The other issue that I had, which is really common in drugstore foundations, that the lighter shades are all too pink. I do have yellow undertones, so they did not have a shade for me. So I would say this was okay. I would not repurchase it, but it is super full coverage and likely pretty good for oily skin. The next one I tried is also from Maybelline, and that is the Fit Me Matte and Poreless. This one is cheaper. It's somewhere around $6 to $7. They have 38 shades in this one. This one I really liked because it was not as full coverage and is not as matte. I would say this is more of a medium coverage. The issue I had with this one was also the same, that the lighter shades were too pink. There was not a match for me. So I like this one more than the first one, but again, I probably would not repurchase. Next up, this is also a drugstore foundation. This is the e.l.f. Flawless Finish. This only comes in 12 shades. By the way, I only checked like one website for these, so they may have more shades on other sites, but 12 shades is what I saw. $6. This one I really liked. This was a medium coverage. This was such a nice satin finish foundation. Really smooth and not cakey. The only thing was that I would get some oil breakthrough throughout the day. So if you are very oily, that may be an issue with this one, but I really liked this one. All right, then we have the Milani foundation. This is around $10. 23 shades online. The problem with this though, a lot of these, when you go in store, they don't have that many shades. Like when I go to Target, they only have like 5 shades of the Milani foundation. So they do have more online though. This is very full coverage. This is probably the most full coverage drugstore foundation I've ever tried. It's very matte also. It was a little cakey, but I did like this one, and if I was careful and didn't put on too much, it was really nice. I've only ever tried one foundation from CoverGirl, and that is the 3-in-1 Outlast Stay Fabulous, something like that. They have repackaged their foundations, and they do have some newer ones, but the 3-in-1 is the only one I've tried. And this one, it's weird because online at Ulta, they only had 13 shades in this one, but some of their other foundations, they have like 40 shades. So I don't get that, but this was really full coverage also, not as much as the Milani, but close. I thought this one was nice. It could get cakey also, so I would be careful with that. My issue was same with the Maybelline. All their light shades are really pink. So the shade really was off for me. I mean, I wore it anyway, but I'd prefer yellow undertones. It looks much better. Okay, another drugstore, the Wet n Wild Photo Focus. This is only around $6. How many shades do they have? They have 20 shades, but again, this is one of those things in store. They only have 5 or 6, whatever. This one I didn't like, and I'm actually on my second bottle. I don't know why I repurchased it. I didn't really like it the first time because it's just too matte and too cakey. So I do think oily skin would do better with this one. I didn't love it the first time. I decided to give it another shot. I'm trying to finish that bottle and I would not get this again. On to some high end, and then I will go back to drugstore at the end because I kept remembering more that I have tried. The IT Cosmetics CC Cream, I included this because this is pretty full coverage. I would say this is medium to full coverage. It's a very satin. This only has 12 shades. And back when I tried it, which was about 5 years ago, they had only 6 shades. But you know, I really like this. This has SPF 50 in it. I didn't mention SPF for the other ones because some of these other ones do have about 15 to 20. I've never had a problem with flashback unless it's a higher SPF, like 15. I've never even had a problem with flashback, and I wouldn't even consider that much SPF. I wear SPF underneath my makeup, but this one has 50 in it, so that is nice. I did get flashback in pictures. I did notice that. I really like this. Honestly, I would consider repurchasing this if their newer shades are yellow tone. I do think they have a new lighter shade that has yellow in it, but the last time that I tried it, the lightest shade was pink. So I'd have to swatch these in store now that they have more shades, but I did really like this. Okay, Estee Lauder Double Wear. Hands down, the best foundation I've ever tried to date. I've gone through probably 5 or 6 bottles. I have not repurchased this in a while, but this has 56 shades. That's a lot. It is $43. Back when I first tried it, it was only $39. What are you gonna do? This is really full coverage, but it's not cakey on me. I know a lot of people say it's cakey on them, but on me, it wasn't, and it's the longest lasting foundation I've ever tried. I mean, I've literally worn this for probably 20 hours and it still looks good. I've never found another foundation that is that long lasting. I have not repurchased it, but it's still the best I've ever tried. And quick thing I want to say that I know that shade range has been a huge thing in the last year or two, which it should have always been, but at least now it's getting more attention. And I do give props to Estee Lauder and some of these other brands who have had large shade ranges for many years. So props to them on that. Next up, the Too Faced Born This Way. This one costs $39. They have 35 shades and I really like this one. I'm on my second bottle. The color I have right now matches me perfectly, which I like. I have noticed that this whole pink undertone thing tends to be very common in drugstore foundations. All their lighter shades tend to be pink and not yellow, which is why I've struggled with drugstore foundation. I have a perfect match in the Too Faced and in the Estee Lauder, which is nice. This is very full coverage. My issue is it's just not that long lasting. I've tried it with different primers, different powders. It tends to break down within even 4 or 5 hours, and I just don't like that. I have noticed if I put less on, it actually will last longer than if I put more on. I don't know. I love the way it looks for the first few hours, but then it's a little dicey. I do like this one, but I'm a little on the fence. Okay, next up is MAC Studio Fix Fluid. This is $31 and they have 63 shades. Wow, that's pretty amazing. I was able to find a perfect match. I've probably gone through a few bottles of this one. I really, really like it. It is satin. It's not too matte. It doesn't get too cakey. It can, but it's not. It's about a medium coverage and it's pretty long lasting. This is a good one. I personally really liked it. Okay, next up, the Tarte Amazonian Clay. This is $39, comes in 40 shades. This is really full coverage, but it was pretty cakey. I didn't love this one. It's just, yeah, a bit too much. It's too intense. It's very matte. I think oily skin would do well with this one though. All right, I've tried 2 foundations from Clinique. The first one is the Even Better. This has 56 shades. This one is $29. I really liked this one. It is medium coverage, satin. It's not too matte. Gotta say, I really liked this one, but my issue is all of the light shades are too pink, so I didn't have a shade match. So, I mean, I still bought it. I should have, been more careful when I bought it, but I bought it anyway. It was too pink. I would not repurchase for that reason, but this is a good foundation. The next Clinique foundation is the Beyond Perfecting. How much is this one? $29. They have 40 shades. This one I didn't like as much. It's very full coverage, but I didn't realize until I had this for quite a while. Not only was it too pink, it was oxidizing even darker on me. I actually don't have a lot of issues with oxidizing foundations, but this one definitely did, so I would not repurchase. All right, we're moving back to the drugstore, people. Catrice HD Liquid Cover. This is 18 shades. They used to have way less. 18 is still not great, but I think this used to only have 4 shades. It's only $11. I really like this one. It is really nice. It's pretty full coverage, but it's not too cakey. It's a very liquidy consistency, so I think that keeps it from getting too built up and cakey. It's pretty matte though, but it's not too drying. This is really nice, and I definitely would repurchase that. I actually had forgotten that I had even had a bottle of this until I was looking through the Ulta website, looking for all the foundations I have had before, and I saw this and I was like, oh yeah, I loved that. So I would definitely buy this again. Then we have the Physicians Formula Healthy Foundation. This is about $15. Again, drugstore, depends where you buy it and where you live. 16 shades, not great. And again, in store, I bought mine at Target. They only had like 6 shades, but I actually did find a match in this one because they have some warmer toned and neutral lighter colors. They're not all pink, so I do like that. This is a lighter to medium coverage. But this is so natural looking on the skin. This is probably one of the most natural looking foundations I've ever tried. I really like this. I would repurchase. The only thing I didn't like was that because it had a doe foot applicator, something about the packaging got really, really messy. But other than that, I really liked it. So I would actually repurchase this. Okay, 5 more foundations. I gotta get through this. LA Girl Pro Foundation. This is around $9, 16 shades. I didn't like it. This was pretty oily. It wasn't cakey though, which is good, but I think with my combination skin, it was just too dewy. I think this would be better suited for a very dry skin because it was pretty oily and broke down on me, but the finish was very nice. All right, this next one, the NYX Stay Matte Not Flat. This is around $8, 14 shades. This is the worst foundation I've ever tried in my entire life. This is one of the few ones where I actually did not finish the bottle. I was halfway through it and I threw it away because it was so horrible. It clung to every dry patch, but it still somehow broke down on the rest of my face. So it would be like half broken down, half attached to a dry patch. It looked horrible, absolutely horrible. I'm not sure who this would look good on because it both broke down from my oil and clung to my dry patches. So I actually was surprised to even see this on the Ulta website because I thought maybe they would have discontinued it by now. So I don't recommend this one. The next one is the Lottie London, and this is about $8. There's only 5 shades right now on the Ulta website, but they used to have a lot more. I have a feeling they're discontinuing this, at least from Ulta. I thought I would mention it though, because maybe Lottie London, I'm sure they have their own website. It's also on sale on the Ulta website, but I loved this foundation and I had a perfect match. I had Toasted Almond and it was really light with yellow undertones. Very nice, probably medium coverage, satin finish, not too dewy. It lasted really well throughout the day. This was a good one. So unfortunately, I don't know what happened to it on the Ulta website, but it's a really good foundation for a really good price. This is one of the more expensive ones. Again, this is the Josie Maran Vibrancy Argan Oil Foundation. It is $45 at Sephora, 15 shades, not great. I did find a perfect match though, very light with yellow undertones. This is a very satin, very nice foundation. I really like this one. It lasts pretty well. I mean, it doesn't last all day like the Estee Lauder, but it lasts pretty well. This one is really, really good. And I do still have a bottle of this and I really like it. All right, we're on the last one. Makeup Forever Ultra HD. This is $43, 40 shades. This one was pretty light coverage. Really good color match for me though. Not super long lasting. This one I just thought was okay. It wasn't terrible, but I think for the price, I liked some other foundations better. So that's it. I just reviewed 20 foundations pretty briefly, but hopefully I gave the important information. Let me just quick recap the ones that I really like that I would repurchase. The Josie Maran. The Too Faced I like, but again, I'm a bit iffy on that one. I'd get the IT Cosmetics if there was a shade that matched me now. The Physicians Formula, the Catrice, the e.l.f. and the MAC and Estee Lauder. It's still the best I've tried. I'm trying not to repurchase it, but it still is the best. But there are some other really good ones here. I feel like I don't really need it, but that one is just so long lasting. All right, so that is it for my massive foundation review. Let me know what you think. What is your favorite foundation? Please let us know, and thank you for watching.